This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing it, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We're talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's really good to checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBA Field Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com. AJ, Kyle, former NBA player Mark Strickland, as always, with you for the show. A lot happening in the world of basketball. A lot of great stuff going on. We'll touch on Tracy McGrady and Allen Iverson. Tony Parker injury update. Lamar Odom's making some headlines. Larry Sanders getting a tattoo. What's that all about? And it's a surprise ending for him, so we'll see. And a free agency update. But as we like to always start the show, I got to ask you guys, how's your weekend going? Mark, we'll start with you, man.
Good. Weekend was good. Spent some time with the family. Enjoying Miami. It was a little rainy this weekend, but everything's good.
All right.
I'm a little upset because
great.
the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been looking forward to the NSYNC reunion at the VMAs, right? It's like, I don't care what anybody says, but everybody was an NSYNC fan at some point. And then they go on for the stage for like 30 seconds and perform, and then it's over. It was a big letdown for me. I'm not too happy about that.
All right. Well, actually, joining us on the show right now is two-time NBA All-Star Jerry Stackhouse. Stack, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Hey, Jerry, I know that you're a singer. You like to sing. You're very good. Are you an NSYNC fan, man? Were you upset as I was to see NSYNC going to perform more?
Not really. I'm not gonna lie. Not really.
All right.
Jerry was like, bye to that.
Hey, he's just being honest. I like it, man. I like it. So, Jerry, what have you been up to this summer? And, you looking to play another season in the NBA? What's going on?
No, I don't know, man. I'm pretty much maybe done, man. I think almost a decade, 18 years of doing it, but the knees are getting creakier and creakier every season. But, I still enjoy getting out there and competing with the guys. So I don't really know what the future holds right this moment. I got a lot of options, and it's almost, when you have a lot of options, it's almost like not having any. You don't know which one to do. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
All right.
Now you're working, one of those options, I guess, is working with the union, right? I mean, Adam Silver's going to be taking over. I think that you, Chris Paul, a lot of the players are in position now to really grow the game and take it to different levels that it kind of wasn't in the past. What is some of the things that you guys are looking forward to accomplishing maybe during the season or as soon as possible?
I think more so than anything is just getting more engagement from our players and making sure they're informed. I think a lot of times the guys were, and all of us are guilty of it, just not being as engaged during the course of the season because of the rigors of the season and the schedule, dealing with all that. And then all of a sudden you want to pick up interest when it's collective bargaining time, and we're always kind of behind the 8 ball. So we got to find a way to get more guys involved, aware of the business of basketball, and understand that, the decisions that we make are going, affect the guys that's coming behind us. And that's why we're here. I've been able to, play the game for a long time and earn a lot of money because of the people that came before me, and I'm making sure that I do the same thing for these young guys coming behind.
And now, the young guys, that's kind of how we sort of operate this show, in that we try to give those retired players who, haven't been in the league in a long time or are not connected to the game, we try to keep fans connected with those guys, because a lot of times the only time you hear about former players is like for negative stuff, right? Like when they go bankrupt or whatever, that's the only time that they make the news. So you're trying to maybe like start early and then let them know, like, hey, these are some of the pitfalls when you're not making this money anymore.
Yeah, definitely. We got to try to find a way to embrace our retired players, because they're still a part of our union. It's still a part of our association. And and on the flip side, we got to start getting guys early. I think we got to find a way to get involved with more of the AAU programs and be a outlet, an avenue for those kids as well, so you can start getting the message to them early, where by the time they're in college, they're already hearing, some of the things about the pitfalls that comes with, playing this game at this level, and, understanding some of the financial literacy that comes with, with this whole program, man, because it's the numbers, I don't know if the numbers are true, but they're staggering when you talk about guys that lead the game and what type of shape they're, not just in basketball, but across sports in general. So I think it's almost an epidemic across sports as a whole.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, Jerry, we got this week Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, pretty much they're calling it careers as well. And, Allen Iverson kind of making some headlines with some bad things. And, you being his former teammate, you played with him. I mean, this guy, obviously, he's been through a lot in his career, being in the media for some things. But you know him. You've played with him. What's the deal? What really goes on and stuff?
Well, I mean, I think, I played with him, and I think he has the biggest heart, one of the biggest competitors that I've ever known, one of the most freakish athletes that I've ever known. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I just think some of his, choices off the court, and, I think he would be a great, advocate for, for young guys, because all of them look up to him and respect him so much from his talent on the basketball court, and if he could, find a way to get to the point where he could speak about some of the pitfalls, I think it would be huge, more so than anything that any of, the older guys say, somebody they can really relate to and can say, this is some of the things that I've done and gone through, and these are some of the things that you need to try to avoid. But, I mean, I think that, he deserves that. He deserves a way to make a big impact again. Obviously, his career was cut shorter than he wanted it to, but I think at the end of the day, he could still look back and say some of the choices and some of the decisions that he made helped, put him in that position. And, I mean, it's sad, but it's the reality of how this game goes when they don't need you anymore. As long as they needed him to get 30 points and he was capable of getting 30 points, then
right.
you could live with some of those things. But as soon as you show a little chink in the armor where you can't do those things and you can't play at that level, then you become expendable. And I think that's a sad part of being a professional athlete, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Allen Iverson will be a real good spokesperson to kind of help some of these younger guys out, what you got all these videos and things of that nature and making it rain and that type of stuff. I think he would really help out. But we also had another one of our colleagues retire this year, Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady retired this year. I think you had a stint with him also. Can you talk about, him as a person and how he was as a player and a teammate?
Yeah, I talked with Tracy just over the weekend. We texted back and forth. Cause, he's another one of those guys that I like to try to get into the fold of going back and speaking to these young guys. Because he's not so far removed that, guys don't remember. He still played with them. And so a message for some guy that's been able to play 16 years in this league and been at all different levels. He's been a superstar level. He's been, a guy that's come off the bench. And, this past season, he was probably the 15th man for the San Antonio Spurs and still have value. And that's what guys fail to realize, that you have to evolve in this game to be able to stick around that long. You're not going to be the same superstar you were when you first came in or early on in your career all the way through if you're going to last anything. And being able to adjust and accept that reality, can bode well for you having some longevity. But I think he's absolutely one of the top players that I played against, on the wing position, being able to put the ball on the floor, pretty much a point guard in a really small forward, power forward's body. So, I just think he's one of those guys that, injuries definitely derailed his career, but hopefully, when they really put his body to work, that he has a chance, and maybe because of his high school career and everything, maybe have a chance to be in the Hall of Fame. I truly believe he has that ability.
So you definitely think, but how about both these guys being future Hall of Fame players?
Yeah, I think Allen Iverson, without question. I just think he's not only just his exploits on the basketball court, but how he kind of, transcended the game off the court, and really, made, little white kids want to have cornrows. So, when you're able to do that, you're pretty special. So I think he's absolutely first ballot Hall of Famer, and in my mind, Tracy is a Hall of Famer as well.
So that's T-Mac, that's AI. What about Stack? I mean, you're near the end of your career, or you may already be at it. You're not ready to take that step yet. But how do you want your legacy to be remembered? Scorer, great teammate, enforcer on the court. Nobody messes with Stack on the court. I mean, how do you want people to look back at your career and sort of be like, man, that Stackhouse, he was blah blah blah. Well, what does that blah 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 fill in as?
Well, no, I just think I was. I don't know. I guess for me, it's always about what somebody else feels about you, how you perceive more so than really, perception is reality. So whatever I feel doesn't really matter as long as how people see me. But I will say that one of the best compliments that I feel like I've gotten out of my 18 career, even in my last season, I was talking to Roger Mason, who's been really pivotal in helping to move the Union forward as well. Was just as like, he was talking to a teammate of mine, Keith Bogans, and, a guy who's been around, for a number of years himself, and he, said that I was the best teammate that he ever had just being with me this year in Brooklyn. So wow. I think those are the type of things that would last more so than any other aspect. I know I could score the best of them when I was healthy and in the prime of my career and competed at a high level as well. But just those type of things, I think, are really says who you are as a player, because the basket's gonna fade. But if you can be that guy and always know that you got your teammates back and they feel that way when they're out there on the court with you, I think that's the ultimate praise in my mind.
Yeah. And now, let's go back 10 years ago. And this actually, first of all, Jerry, I'm a big fan of yours personally. I've been watching you since I started watching basketball. I didn't see you when you were on the Sixers, but when you were in Detroit, I've seen the 57 points, against the Chicago Bulls. Right then and there, I knew you were the real deal. And I grew up a Wizards fan next to a Knicks fan. They were like, my uncle lives in D.C., went to a lot of Wizards games, and I got to see you play. I was really excited, when I found out that you got traded to Washington, because I knew I was going to be able to see you. And it was like a dream come true watching you and being out there on the floor. But I got to say, as a fan, and look, nobody's going to argue this, Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. 100% greatest player of all time. I think you were coming off, you're in your prime, you're playing unbelievable for Detroit, you come to Washington, Jordan comes out of retirement, and, I kind of felt like, in a way, he took away from you shooting a little bit, and, obviously he's Michael Jordan, he is who he is, and everybody has tremendous amount of respect, but for me, I was like, hey, Jordan's 40, Jerry Stackhouse is in his prime, I wanted to. I was hoping you get, a couple more touches here and there. I guess it didn't necessarily happen, but I mean, dude, it was so much fun watching you play for the Wizards, and it just seriously a great talent.
It was a tough dynamic, man. Obviously, with Michael coming back to play and actually being part of management and things like that, it was a little bit of strain on everybody, but I mean, I understood it from his standpoint, because as a basketball player and true competitor, you're gonna be competitive at no matter what stage of your career. Right. I think that he still felt like he was the guy, and like I said, I was in the prime of my career, so I think everyone kind of saw it, even though it was never said. I never really said anything about it, or he said anything about it.
Right.
That everybody could kind of feel it, So I mean, it was there, and it was real. But I was, like I said, I was coming from, Detroit, playing at a high level. Obviously, felt like we were close to a championship, and then coming over to Washington, it was like starting over again for me. So it was a little bittersweet. But the fact that I got a chance to play with one of my idols, didn't have the success that I thought that we would, breed on the court, but I still look at that as a memorable moment in my career.
That's good. It's awesome.
Not everybody gets to play with MJ. A lot of the new guys, I'm sure they probably ask you, and a lot, what was it like to play with MJ. I guess now that's kind of the same thing that's going on with LeBron being one of the best players. Yeah. He goes to Miami, teams up with Bosh and Wade, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
When you were in the prime of your career, Like let's put I don't know the time frame. Let's put like 99 to 05. Let's say where you were dropping like I know you had one season like 28 or 29 points. If you had to team up with another two and have your own big three in that era, who would those two guys be for you?
That's a good one right there, man. I would say I played. I played with a lot of guys. I caught them at the end of their career. Like I said, I played with Grant Hill. If Grant Hill was healthy, I definitely put him on that team. And Jason Kidd. I think we had some pretty decent bigs and Bison Daly and some serviceable bigs at the time. But if I could have played with a healthy Grant Hill and Jason Kidd in his prime, I think that would have been real scary. I mean, I've had the fortune of playing with Allen Iverson, playing with Grant Hill, playing with Michael Jordan, playing with LeBron James, playing with Jason Kidd actually for later on in his career. But I think it would have been pretty sweet to be able to just run the court and know the ball's gonna get there without even thinking about it.
And it's too bad that I guess you're a year late because now Jason Kidd takes over the Nets. Yeah. And he becomes the head coach. Is that going to be like? How is that going to be? He's not going into a rebuilding team that has all young guys and he can sort of mentor and they can look up to him. He's going in there with some pretty serious talent and legacies. I mean, he's got Garnett and Pierce and Terry. These guys, how is that going to work? It's like he just steps out from being a player into a coach. Do you think like? Once they start to run into some trouble, there might be some second-guessing the coach, and maybe Garnett challenges Kidd. How do you see that playing out in Brooklyn?
No, I think that's what the trend is becoming now. I mean, I think players are really starting to come to the forefront in the league again. I mean, I think coaches have been kind of you saw all the coaches, even like Coach of the Year last year, George Starr gets fired. So right. Coaches. There's been a lot of coaching carousel, but I think that what you're seeing with the blueprint is kind of what Mark Jackson did. He went and got the best supporting cast around him. He had great assistants. I think Jason did the same thing. He went and got a guy who could very well be a head coach in Lawrence Frank, and he's going to be right there beside him to be able to pick him up. When maybe he's getting a little rattled or whatever. You just don't know what to expect with a guy who I don't think he's coached at any level. But I know he's smart. He understands the game, and he has a demeanor that I think will vibe well with guys. So I don't think it's going to be a case. And the players like a Kevin Garnett, they're going to be conscious of the situation with him, and they're not going to want to rock the boat. They might rock the boat with each other. That's what I feel more about the Nets this year, just with the personalities they got, that they may have some clashing as players. But I don't think it will trickle to that, I've been going at the coach. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to be really good, personally.
Yeah, for the East, they'll be really good for the East. Who do you have coming out the East? Who do you have coming out the West this year?
I mean, until Miami's beaten, I still feel like Miami's the team to beat, but I think they get a little more, they'll be tested more early on. I mean, because I think it's, Indiana, you feel like they're going to be better, obviously. The Nets are better. The Knicks were right in the fray last year. So I think it's a lot of good teams. The West, everybody's, talking about what the West is, but like the champions come out of the East the last two seasons. So until that changes, the power's still in the East.
I know that they're both injured. They're both coming off of injuries. I always thought when Pierce and Garnett were on, when they were still on Boston, and I guess sometime maybe last year or 2 years ago, if you swapped Rondo for Westbrook and you put Rondo on the Thunder and you have Westbrook on the Celtics, that to me would have been a perfect deal because you have Westbrook on the Celtics, a guy that can take over the scoring load now that Pierce and Garnett are getting older, and he can sort of take over the franchise. And then you have Rondo in OKC to facilitate for Durant, to get Durant more touches, because it was, I guess, always a knock that Westbrook and Durant were kind of fighting for who's going to score, who's going to get more touches. I always thought that would have been a great deal. Now the Celtics obviously are rebuilding, and the rest is history for them. But I also agree that Miami, I think, is the team you can't go against them. But I actually think in the West, Golden State Warriors. I mean, you got a chance to play against them obviously last year. They're a young team. How good is Steph Curry, and how good can this team be, do you think, just from playing against them?
I think he's really good. I think he has a chance to be really special. That whole team, that young team, they're exciting, but I think I still see them. They're probably fifth in the West. Even as good as they were and good as they played last year. I mean, you got to still think that Houston may be better with Dwight Howard coming over.
Right.
I got OKC.
Okay.
San Antonio's still right there. Memphis with those bigs. And so I mean that's 4 teams right there that's still ahead of Golden State in my mind. With a couple other young teams. I mean, like the Lakers, they're probably an 8th seed now. They're gonna be battling with maybe Minnesota just to maybe get the 8th seed in the West now. So it's been a little turnover. And back to your point about Westbrook, and I mean that sounds good on paper, but you bring Westbrook over there with Paul Pierce, these guys are complaining with Rondo, and he's getting 16, 17 assists.
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine with Westbrook who's coming in and taking looks. So I mean, you got to be careful what you wish for, man. I think they got a good group that learn how to play together. They won a championship in Boston, and I think they're on the verge of having a chance to do that in OKC with Westbrook. They missed him last year as much as they want to talk about him, taking shots and crowding, crowding out KD a little bit. KD was looking for him last year. Believe that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like there's a little GM in you, Jerry. Sounds like there's a little GM in there.
Something, man. I want to coach too. I mean, I think it would be that was a dream situation. I think they kids fell into, man, to be able to come right off the court playing and go into a situation where you got a talented team that and support from ownership to do whatever it takes to get it done. That's a dream situation. So
it's just
might see me over there in a little bit.
just remember, it's not like a video game. Isaiah Thomas did that once. It's not the same thing. It doesn't work that way.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm pretty sure that he knows.
I'm just guys. I'm just saying. But Jerry, before we let you go, I had to tell you your name, Stackhouse. It's perfect for showbiz, for opening up a restaurant. I mean, you could do a million things with that. I'm sure you knew this already, but in case you didn't know, I had to tell you.
Somebody already stole it from me, man. A guy down in Dallas when we opened up Stackhouse Burgers, and
Kyle and I
really good burgers down there in Dallas. Next time you go to Stackhouse Burgers.
Kyle and I were thinking, like Pancake House or something, like Stacks, Pancakes,
Flapjacks. Flapjacks.
So
hey man, y'all come up with the business plan, raise the money, and just let me use my name on it. I'm with it all day.
I love it.
Wait, are you gonna do any of the cooking in the restaurant? You're a bit of a chef, right?
Hey man, I got skills, man.
I know, man.
I'm a jack of all trades a little bit, but I enjoy it. I was on the grill a little bit this week, and so I float in out the kitchen to the grill, man. I got that honest from my mom. My mom was a short order cook, raised us that way. So I learned how to fend for myself pretty early.
That's good.
I know you were a part of a large family. You were the youngest, I believe. Did you cook at all for the family? Was there any meals coming from Jerry?
Well, no, not really. I mean, at that time they were a lot older. I cooked a lot for myself coming up because my brothers they were gone. But when it came to eating and stuff, I was a baby, so I always ate first. So it never came to the point where I missed any meals. But in fairness, all my brothers and sisters all are pretty skilled around the kitchen. So I got it honest.
All right, Jerry, it's been awesome having you on the show, and hopefully you come to a decision of what's the next step in your life and what you're going to be doing. But we wish you the best of luck with everything and hope to have you on again, in the future. Catch us up on everything.
I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Jerry.
Take it easy, Stack.
All right.
Guys, another great guest, Jerry Stackhouse, two-time NBA All-Star. Yep.
Stackhouse, baby.
It's big stuff. It's big stuff. And he said it looks like he's calling it quits also. It's a weird feeling for me because these, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Jerry Stackhouse, these are the guys that I grew up watching when I first got into basketball, and to see them leaving the NBA, you know, it's a little, you know, hits me a little bit.
Change of the guard. Change of the guard. In a minute, we're gonna see LeBron, D Wade. This is gonna phase out. We're gonna get some new stallions coming in, and it's gonna be a whole crop of players we're gonna be talking about.
You know, I'm not a Spurs fan, but when McGrady was on the team last year, I was just hoping that they would win for him.
Yeah.
You grow up watching these guys, right? I mean, you just become a fan of their work and their body of work and everything they've been able to accomplish over the last few years, and you just feel bad that they can't get that ring. You know, I am a Knicks fan, and I'm mad that Patrick Ewing never got that. I'm sure a lot of people, you know, feel that way. But when you see like a great player, maybe even a top 50 player, top 100 player of all time, and just never be able to win that one ring, you know, that one thing that you want. Mark, I mean, when you're a player, that's what the ultimate goal is when you're a player, right? You just want to feel that, have that feeling of winning that ring.
Yeah. Mark, that's all you talk about during training camp. That's all you talk about during the season is trying to win that gold trophy. That's all it's about.
I'm not trying to rub it in or anything like that. I don't mean anything by this, but I think it's insane that, you know, a guy like Adam Morrison has a championship ring and, like, you know, a guy like Charles Barkley doesn't. That, like, bothers me to no end. It just drives me crazy. You know?
Fortunately, he was on the right team, right place, right time. You know, Barkley
look,
got a shot, but he couldn't beat Jordan.
They got Kobe on what was it? Was it Leno? Was it Kimmel? One of the shows, and they were like showing Adam Morrison's contribution to the NBA Finals, and it's him like after the game running up and down the court just screaming because he's so happy. But it's like, dude, like, you know, there's so many other players. I know it's the right place, the right time, but like at the end of the day, he's getting the ring, and you know, Charles Barkley doesn't have a ring, and that bothers me. That really bothers me.
Yeah, it's tough.
And now the new trend is
because you looked up to him,
right? And the new trend is guys are just teaming up together to get rings. You know, it's like, oh well, hey, I'm just gonna go to Miami, gonna win a ring because they got the 3 best players in the world on their team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's
look, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm a guy who's only getting a 10-day contract, or if I'm a guy who can only get the vet minimum, I'm gonna make the best out of my situation, and I'm gonna try and go to a contender. You know, why take a 1-year vet minimum deal on a non-contender and come off the bench, or, you know, you're kind of wasting away. You know, if you're getting the vet minimum, if you're only getting a 1-year vet minimum deal, that means your career is pretty much almost finished if that's all people are willing to give you. So you got to make the most of that time. Why not try to chase that ring?
Right.
Got to. That's what it's about.
Definitely.
Shoot, I want to sign with Miami right now and try and win a ring. I'll clean up the water spills. I'll fill the Gatorade bottles. I'll give LeBron his towel. I'll let them use my shoulders for armrests. I don't care. There's one championship ring. I don't care.
You say that until they ask you to do it. Once you start getting called at 3 in the morning, going to get things that you know you got two practices the next day, and they call you at 3 in the morning. Hey, man, I need you to have my Java juice on my chair when I come in the locker. You're going to be like,
I'm be like, yo, LeBron, don't nobody need Jamba Juice at 5 in the morning, man. Stop with this. All right? Stop with these requests, man.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll touch on Tony Parker. Little injury update. Lamar Odom. That's a crazy story. Crazy family, the Kardashians, let me tell you. Talkin Hoopz, TalkinHoops.com, NBRPA Miami, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. We'll be right back.
Foul out. Talkin Hoopz will be right back. I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know that the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CVS cares.
The new free CBS Radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo Music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS Radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoopz, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on TalkinHoopz.com or YouTube.com/TalkinHoopz. And don't forget to follow @Talkin Hoopz on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you'd like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? Millions of healthy cats to choose from. It's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters. This bobcat's heavy. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts.
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer.
My dream is to be a ballerina.
My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef, truck driver,
a teacher,
a shoe designer,
professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from a foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, this is AJ. Want to talk more hoops? Bring the show in overtime.
Check out TalkinHoopz.com. Catch ya on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoopz. About 15 players in the team, 14 get along. Now here's a guy who likes to dunk on his 8.5-foot rim. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back. Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoopz.com. AJ, Kyle, former NBA player Mark Strickland, hanging with you for the show. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. And getting back into this, guys, Tony Parker update. Where we at, Kyle?
Well, he is playing he's getting ready for the Euro tournament, so he's playing with the French national team. And he hurt his knee last week, his right knee. On Monday, he sort of seemed to re-injure his right knee. He played through it, but he had to get an MRI after. So everybody was holding their breath. The MRI was today. And according to the French national team Twitter site, the doctor says that it's nothing serious with his knee. So if you're a Spurs fan, you don't got to worry. If you're Greg Popovich, I'm sure you're thanking your lucky stars. Right. But Tony Parker, all good. And they're going to need him because Tim Duncan's near the end of his career. Manu Ginobili said openly that he contemplated retirement at some point last season. So he's on for 2 more years, but he's at the end of his career, and he saw career-low numbers since his rookie year. So these guys are getting older. They need Tony Parker. He's in the prime of his career right now. They really need Tony Parker to be that all-star. You know, he's not going to be that all-star if he's nursing knee injuries all year. So good news for them.
Yep. Time to rebuild, San Antonio.
But almost that time, right? I mean, oh, my gosh.
Time to rebuild. Got to rebuild.
That's crazy. McGrady retires. Iverson retires. The Spurs and Lakers have to rebuild.
Yeah.
Change, man.
Change another guard.
Change.
That's just how it is. That's the NBA.
Yeah, it's you don't realize what's going on until it's over. I mean, I don't think I fully appreciated the Spurs and their dynasty, or McGrady in his prime, or when AI was stepping over Tyronn Lue. You know, I don't think I fully appreciated that, and so I'm looking back now and I'm like, damn, that was some really good time in the NBA. As a fan, I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Great basketball. San Antonio played. I don't know why people thought they played boring basketball. They just played fundamental basketball. You move the ball, you share the ball to your teammates. The open guy gets the shot. Other guys rebound. You take the break when you got the break. If not, you get it to your dominant post guy and you score.
It's because there's, unless Ginobili's on the floor, or now Kawhi Leonard, I like his game. There's not a lot of flashiness to the Spurs. We talk about we talk about the Spurs. They can win 20 straight games. No one cares. No one says anything. No one says one thing about them winning 20 straight. People talk about the Miami Heat. everyone's all over it. That's they just want to watch every game. LeBron James is alley-ooping to Wade. Wade's alley-ooping to LeBron. I mean, there's a lot of action going on in these 20 straight wins. The Spurs win 20, 22, whatever it is, no one cares. It's just like it just stops. But I'll tell you what, if it was any other team playing the Spurs in the finals, no one would be rooting for the Spurs to win. No one, which is amazing. I think that's incredible also, except for San Antonio Spurs fans.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why people don't like San Antonio. I guess they're just an under-the-radar team. Like you're saying, people think they're boring. But some of the games I watched them last year, they had a lot of highlights. But like you said, they had Kawhi Leonard. They had the guy from North Carolina,
Danny Green.
Yeah. Some guys that, that were a little bit younger, and they were doing most of the highlights. But I like their game. I always liked San Antonio. I thought they, were one of the better teams in the NBA.
Definitely. They'll always be one of the best teams in the NBA when you got a coach like that, though. Always.
Yeah.
And
they always dominated.
Yeah.
Stack put them ahead of the Golden State Warriors. I could see why he would say that, but I don't think they're there anymore. I think that last year was kind of their last window to accomplish some things and maybe win a championship. I think that they're going to make the playoffs, but I think their time being on top of the Western Conference is over.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you didn't think they were going to be in the final. I didn't think they were going to be.
That's true.
Last year, and they just kind of turned it on because I thought they were going to do like they do every year. They win games, and then all of a sudden, the playoffs they run out of gas because they're so old. But I mean, you never know. They can make a good push. I know guys are wrestling up, but Tony Parker's, like you said, is the key. You got to have Tony Parker.
Mark, you played against Tim Duncan also in his prime.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
What was that even like? Like, how did you even guard that?
A lot of times, man, you really don't think about it. After you be in the league for so long, by the time I played against him, it was like my second year. So, by then, you kind of like, your ego kicks in and you're like, man, now you realize that you're an NBA player. You know what I mean? So it really wasn't a big deal. But, I was more captivated by playing against David Robinson, those type of guys. And Barkley, he was in Houston at the time when I was playing with the Heat. So, those are kind of like the guys who, I kind of idolized. But Tim Duncan, he was just a young guy to me. Same as Garnett. When he came in, I remember when Garnett came in, he signed for all that money.
Right.
We played preseason. I had a pretty good game against him. It wasn't really like, I was just like, he's just still, he's a young kid. He's not like, he's Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen or somebody like that, who was like, okay, I was watching this guy when I was in high school or college, and it's like, man, I'm on the court with him. So, it was different.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, all right? And, because we're talking about Tim Duncan and we're on the topic of you got to play against him, did you ever have that feeling where you knew you could guard a guy's shot, but it just went in anyway all the time? Duncan makes things look so easy, yet it's like, I could have blocked that. I could have done this, but you didn't. But you know what I'm saying? Did you ever have that kind of feeling against a lot of guys you played against? Even a guy being like Tim Duncan, as good as he is, I mean...
Yeah. My nightmare was Steve Smith. He was just a tough cover.
Steve
from Atlanta?
Tough. Yeah, when he was in Atlanta, doing those paydays with Henderson and those guys, he was just a hard. No matter what I did, if I bited him, he found a way to get to the basket. If I guarded him off, he shot a jump shot. I just couldn't. He's one of those guys that was just tough to guard. For me, that was my guy.
Okay, Steve Smith. Smitty.
Steve Smith. Smitty.
Yeah, doing the NBA TV stuff now. I could see Jerry Stackhouse getting into NBA TV, doing something like that too.
He has the voice for it. Those singing, he got that baritone voice. The Barry White thing going. Yeah, he'd be good at that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm upset that he kind of shot down NSYNC, man. I thought maybe we had another NSYNC fan. I'm upset that he wasn't rocking with NSYNC. He was just like, nah, I'm not having that.
Come on, Mark. You love NSYNC, Mark. You love them.
Nah, I was more of what's those boys?
Backstreet Boys,
Bobby Brown. And,
I was about to say Backstreet Boys.
And what's my guy? Ralph Tresvant.
Oh my God! I just had I thought you said Backstreet Boys. I thought that's what you were gonna say. I was like, really?
No.
Huh?
Mark is a big 90s fan.
My neighbor when I first moved down here was John. I forget his last name. He was in Menudo. He was one of the singers in Menudo. Yep. Sure was.
I love it. Yeah, actually, the only thing connected to the Backstreet Boys in the NBA is Aaron Carter, Nick Carter's little brother, in that song, That's How I Beat Shaq. Come on. at the end of the day, Shaq did not lose to this guy. It was all BS, okay? Never happened. Never, ever happened for Aaron Carter to think he actually beat Shaq and holds it to this day. It was set up. It was set up for the video. It was set up. That's like Kyle saying he beats all these NBA guys. It's like, you're sleeping, dude. You're sleeping.
There's a lot of celebrities that try to challenge NBA players. There are a lot of guys that come down to Florida, like celebrities or singers, actors that try to run, full court games.
Fox. Yeah, I remember one time Jamie Foxx came to play at the Overtown Youth Center.
Yeah.
We was like, man, is this guy for real? Like, he really wants to play with us? Oh, man, we had him in a blender so bad. We were setting, like, screens on him. We were setting him up for, like, lobs. We get through the rim.
Bullied him on the court?
Like, hit him in the head. Yo, we was killing. I mean, he went through, like, more screens that day. I'm talking about nail-biting screens, too. He was like, man, I can't play with y'all no more.
And Jamie Foxx is like, he's like a big dude, right? He's like a muscular guy.
Yeah, he's all right. No, he's a little.
Maybe not for you because you're 9 feet tall, but
yeah, jeez, Mark.
And to me, everybody's
big.
Yeah.
To you, I'm a munchkin. I'm from the Wizard of Oz, and I'm 6 feet tall. Me and AJ are from the Wizard of Oz. We're from Munchkin Land. To you,
I'm a munchkin. If you're a munchkin, I'm like a munchkin's munchkin.
You're a munchkin junior.
All right, well, I don't know if he's really being a munchkin, but I want to segue into Lamar Odom somehow, so we're going with it.
Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
What is going on with Lamar Odom? Sad, man. So sad, but it was TV.
I was hoping you could tell us what was going on with him. I was hoping.
It was the TV, man. It was the TV. I'm telling you. I knew that. As soon as he got involved with that family, man, and did that. You don't marry a girl in 2 weeks. You just don't do that. Right. Especially these days. That's one. Two, you can't really be on TV like that, man, when you're still playing basketball. Like, that should be your main focus, which is why you don't see Carmelo Anthony on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Because his job is to play basketball, not to be a reality TV star. It's interesting when you retire, but not while you're still playing. That's too much pressure.
If you look at Lala... If you look at Lala's show and you look at the Kardashian show, Lala's show is much more mellow and down to earth, and it's not as crazy and stupid. Where if you look at like the Kardashians, they do the most ridiculous things and get judged for it. People judge them all the time for it. They think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's all entertainment. I just look at it as entertainment. It's reality TV, but it's really not reality TV. I mean, it's all entertainment. But. Hopefully Lamar gets back, man, and gets healthy and gets the help he needs. Man,
there were reports that Lamar Odom had a standing offer from the Clippers. I don't know if that's true, but there were multiple reports that the Clippers were
not anymore.
For a long time just waiting on Lamar Odom to accept the vet minimum deal. And obviously, he played there last year and he played with the Lakers for a long time, so LA's it's not a uncommon place for him. But according to TMZ, they were saying that about 2 years ago he got into some drug use, crack cocaine, and ever since then, that kind of puts the timeline right when he was traded from LA, and he was upset about that. He didn't want to leave the Lakers.
Yeah, he felt really hurt about that. Yeah, he was crushed.
It's been rough for him since then, apparently, according to TMZ. And as soon as this TMZ story broke. Like 2 days later, 3 days later, all of a sudden Antawn Jamison gets a deal from the Clippers, and it was once I guess this story broke about Lamar Odom, they just weren't interested in keeping bringing him back. So now Antawn Jamison benefits from Lamar Odom's troubles.
Yeah,
it's hard to deal with that crack situation. That's serious.
Yeah.
Unfortunate though.
Also, guys go from city to city though all the time in the NBA. It's not uncommon. How did you deal with it when you jumped around?
It's an adjustment, man. For me, I just was lucky enough to have a strong woman behind me to kind of take care of all the little stuff that I had to do. So I didn't really have to worry about moving and selling up things in other cities. I could just pretty much focus on, okay, I got traded to Denver. Okay, I got time. Let me go out here, see what's going on, find me a place.
Right.
Find out what practice is, find out the game, find out the schedule, see who my teammates are, and then kind of get everything kind of lined up, and then bring your family there. I mean, it's an adjustment. I mean, it's one of the toughest things that you have to deal with as a pro.
Yeah.
Because it's like, 1 minute you're playing with the Celtics, and the next night, all of a sudden, you playing with the Atlanta Hawks, you know.
Right.
So it's a tough thing to deal with. It's part of the game.
And how about how about reacting to your new teammates? Do you have to make friends all over again, or no? You usually know someone when you're going into a situation.
Yeah, you know, the NBA is a big frat, man. That's all it is. It's a big frat.
I like
that's
that.
all it is. So you're gonna know somebody on each team, or somebody's gonna know. You're gonna either hang out with them in a city where you go and play ball. Like a lot of guys that I used to see in LA play for different teams. When we used to go out at Eddie Jones' house and play ball in the summertime, you're gonna run into them somewhere in the off season or during the season, you know, out somewhere, and then you kind of maintain those relationships. So when you get traded, more than likely, you're going to know somebody on the team.
Yeah.
Kind of make it a smooth adjustment for you.
How do they sort of let you? Do they just call you into the office?
Call you on the phone. Call on the phone. Hey, you know, somebody will call, say, hey, such and such want to talk to you. You know, in my case, it was, you know, Pat Riley, and he just let me know, hey, you know, we made a deal. You know, you were such and such are going to this place. And I was like, okay, appreciate it. You know, thanks for letting me know. And it was like, you know, you need anything, let us know. You know, it's been great you being here, you know. And next thing you know, they give you the number. You have to call to contact the person at that organization. You call them right away. Then they kind of set up things for a press conference. You know, everybody usually have a press conference. You go do the press conference. If it's during the season, you just go play. And then, but if it's in the off season, that's when you have a press conference. You have a little time to kind of get adjusted.
So it's during the season when it's just a last second trade.
That's the roughest. That's the roughest
that's
one.
The
you get traded during the season, like you have to leave that night, pack a bag, and go to another city. So you're in a hotel for a long time. You're living out of one bag for a long time because the season doesn't stop. So if you get there, if you get traded there on the road, you got to meet them on the road with all your stuff.
Wow.
So it's a difficult thing when you get traded.
How about a situation where a guy's like, all right, I'm going to be here for a while. They say I'm going to be here for a while. He settles down, buys a house, and then he's traded. Now he's got to sell the house, or I guess whatever he wants to do with it. But usually, got to sell a house because he's never going to be back in the city again. And now he's somewhere else.
It's the same thing with coaching too. My friend Harold Ellis, he was in Atlanta for a long time, and I hung around him because we both from Atlanta. Then he went to Detroit, and then he had to sell his house in Atlanta, and now he's in Orlando, and I think he just sold his house in Detroit. I mean, that's part of the life, you know. That's just part of it.
That's it.
It's the NBA. It's the NBA, baby.
That's crazy. They should come up with better ways to deal with a guy who's traded.
What if you don't get a phone call? Like Caron Butler came out a couple weeks back saying he didn't even get a phone call. He was just traded. No one told him anything.
I don't think how that's possible. Unless the team called the other team, and then the other team called them. It's like, hey, y'all called them. Tell them, hey, you with us now. They traded you here. We got your ticket. Boom, boom, boom. That might have happened.
He came out and said a phone call would have been nice. You know, you're playing for a team for a while. You're doing well. They liked you. Just to say goodbye like that without really telling you anything, I don't know. You know,
NBA can be a cold place, man. It can be a lonely world. It can be a lonely world if you don't fit in.
That's what Stack was kind of talking about, right? I mean, he said that when you average 30 points, everything is good. But as soon as you show that chink in the armor and you're not dropping that 30 points anymore, all of a sudden you become expendable. You know, you're only good for that moment, I guess. It's not what have you done, it's what have you done for me late. You know, it's not what have you done for me, but what have you done for me now. You know what I mean? It's if you're not doing the 25 points per game, then all of a sudden you're a trade chip. All of a sudden you're expendable.
It's a job of production. It's about producing. You're not producing, we got to find somebody that's going to produce.
So when you think about it, the way Lamar Odom's situation was handled and how he went through everything, he went to the Lakers, never expecting to be traded from the Lakers after that, gets traded to Dallas, and it's just like, a shock for him. And, he's had
a bad situation, though.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't understand. It wasn't a bad situation.
Right.
It was a good situation. So maybe he just was in love with L.A. That's the way he wanted to be. He had been there for a while. But
right.
The Clippers situation, he got in trouble with the Clippers the first time. The first time it was marijuana, if you remember.
That's right.
When he first was there. So he got in trouble with that then. And then he was clean for a while. Now he's back with the Clippers. And now it's something else. So I don't know. Maybe the Clippers organization is not the best place for him.
When they go through the rookie program, do they not think like, okay, this is just a thing. I'm over it, and they don't think they're going to get caught after? They just try and sneak it. I don't get it.
Sometimes, man, I think it's just human nature. Some people just have to learn the hard way.
I got you.
That's just how it is.
Wow.
It's unfortunate, though.
I love the inside
scoop. A good player.
I love the inside scoop on how all this works. This is really good stuff. You don't know all this, but you do. You played in the league. You've been you've been there before. You've had teammates. You've seen guys, but it's like, wow. Looking from the outside in, it's a totally different perspective. You don't see what really goes on and how things happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, sometimes, man, when you're in the NBA, you feel kind of invincible, because sometimes, things do happen and it does get shoved under the rug. You know what I mean? Like, so because every team you go to, you meet, the police commissioner, you meet those type of people, and you take in their card and, hey, if you ever get stopped, you call me when you're stopped and let me know who's stopping you. You know what I mean? You have those inside track when you're in the NBA because they try to make things as smooth as possible for you. They don't want you really to get in trouble or those type of things. But, it's just tough. It's just a tough situation.
Yeah.
And you really gotta be doing something bad to be getting in trouble with the police if they're trying to look out for you and they're trying to, they have your best interest. So if a player ends up in the news for getting arrested or something, he's really got to have done something serious.
Yeah, and then all cities have the NBA security. There's the guys you never know who they are. It's a lot of them at games. NBA, I know them because I played in the league.
Right.
They're in regular clothes. They look like regular fans, but they're NBA security. So, and a lot of times you travel with those guys, especially during the playoffs. To make sure, people don't get to you. You have those rivalries going. I remember one time we rivaled with the Knicks, and we came to New York after the fight with P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward. Everywhere we went, each player had to go with a security guard. The Heat hired a security guard for each player. If we left without that security guard, the fine was going to be $20,000.
Jeez.
And that just goes to show you. Look how different the rivalries were back then and today.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Everywhere we went, like I had to have a security guard. What I call, and now I got to walk around with a big dude.
Did you ever have a teammate that had a security guard full time, like Tracy McGrady? His guy went everywhere.
Zoe got security. He had Dave. He looks like a smaller version of Andre Agassi. But he's good though. I think now he runs the security for the Heat. Really good guy though. Really good guy. Yeah. Dave is. Yeah. He started with being Alonzo security back in the day. We always kind of used to joke with him because he was like, Zoe, he's 6'11". 270 solid, and then here's his bodyguard, like 5'8",
right?
195 pounds, and it's kind of like, that's a little backward. Like who's bodyguard?
Right.
Now you need like Twitter bodyguards to make sure you don't get in trouble on Twitter, as opposed to getting in trouble in the streets and having somebody call you out in the streets. Now everybody gets in trouble for what they put on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't tweet during the games now. I think it's a rule. I think they upping the fine or something now. They making the fine like 100,000 or something.
See, and I agree with that because you're supposed to be like, in game mode and you don't want to lose focus. But that's a great way for the NBA to have their players get closer to fans. And I guess it's up to the NBA which route they want.
That's what the players were saying. That's what the players' argument was. It's a way for people to for players to connect with fans during the game, halftime of games. Kind of cool to do that, but I can understand that. It's a rule now that the NBA, you have to have your phone off at a certain time. Sometimes it used to be a different team rule when I was in the league, but I think it's a standard rule now. You have to have your phones off at a certain time before the game.
Well, I think another thing that should start happening in the NBA is being careful of what tattoos players are wearing or what tattoos players get. And what's being shown on camera and what isn't. It's crazy. And I'm segueing into Larry Sanders, as we're getting close to wrapping up the show, because he had an interesting tattoo. He had a very interesting tattoo. Right. Kyle, why don't you touch on that?
He got receive on his hand, right on, I guess you can call it like the pinky area, below his pinky. And he got the word receive. The only thing is that he received a misspelled word. The word receive is spelled RECIE or EI, you know, whatever it is. He's not following the rule I before E except after C. You know,
Yeah.
it's RECEI. He has an RECIE.
Yeah.
And there it is. If you're looking at
he
the
just signed
camera.
a $44 million contract extension. I don't think he's worried about that, though.
Yeah.
No.
He can get that. He can get that corrected easy. But he embraced it. I mean, I think he tweeted something a little after that said, like, I ain't worried about nothing, or look what I found, and he's, like, in front of his huge crib in the back, you know, it's like...
What did the tattoo guy tell him? You're spelling this wrong, or...
No, the tattoo guy...
That should be something that he would do.
Yeah. I don't know, I just feel like you'd be more on top of it when you're looking at your arm, and you're like, what are you doing? You know, I don't know, I just... You know...
Maybe he wasn't paying attention.
He's got some interesting tats. Him, J.R. Smith, and Birdman, I think, have the best tat work in the league.
Are you a fan of tattoos, Strick?
I have 3, but no, that's it. I wish I only had 1. I got 1 in Lebanon, and that's the only one I really want. It's right on my forearm. I hate the ones on my show, on my I guess you can call them outside of my pecs, not pecs. My
Well, what made you want them? What made you get them?
The first one I got, man, was a Black Panther, and I got it. It's a kind of a slim one. I got it in Yakima, Washington when I was in the CBA. It was my first tattoo. And I got the Black Panther because, you know, of course, I'm black and I'm kind of quick and fast as a player. And then the second one I got another Black Panther on the other side because that's just, you know, that's my OCD. Right. But it's a stronger Panther, a little muscular one because when I felt like I got to the heat, I was twice as fast and twice as quick and I was twice as big.
Right.
Okay.
Then when I went to Lebanon, I just went with a friend of mine who kind of looked out for me over there, made sure I knew everything, knew what clubs was, what was safe. My man Dave, and he took me to a guy, and he's like, "Man, you should get this on your forearm, man. It means live life to the fullest." Because I was so like always friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, just wasn't really paying attention to the news and like judging people in the Middle East. So they was like, "Man, you should get that because you live your life every day to the fullest." So I got that one. But I wish I would just had this one and not the 2 Panthers because it's kind of a waste.
It's kind of a waste. I love it.
Yeah, it's a waste, man. It's a waste.
I don't know.
That's part of the journey, man. You got, you know, when you were in the moment, they felt good.
Yeah, good stories.
It's good stories. Look, what's important is they mean something to you. That's really that's really what it comes down to. And you know, if they don't, then I'd say it was a waste. But if you got them at the time and they were somewhat meaningful to you, then it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, I'm just scared don't be like the old dude in my neighborhood, man. I got 2 cats on my arm. You know?
Yeah, but think when you look at
80.
When you look at that, look at our generation. I mean, come on, you know, everyone's got a tattoo now. I feel like everyone's going to be in that same situation when they're older. You guys have a lot worse than you have it. You know what I mean? Look, J.R. Smith's probably got some things that he probably doesn't want on there 20 years from now. So
yeah, that's true.
Hey, Mountainer, don't you have like a tattoo of your ex-girlfriend on your heart or something like that? Didn't you get that done?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive about that. I'm positive about that. Why we got to bring that? Why we got to go there? We have to bring that up, don't we? We have to go there.
He's got his girlfriend's name tattooed on his lower back.
No, I don't.
Right on his lower back, right?
No.
You got a tramp stamp?
Wish I did. For some reason.
Wish you had that?
For some reason, you wish I did. Oh, man. I don't know. I do want a tattoo. I don't know what I'm getting. I do want a tattoo. I don't know how my family, they're not too big on the tattoo thing, but everyone in my family's starting to get one. My cousins, they all have one, and it's just like whatever, you know?
One of Jerry Stackhouse have a tattoo.
He does?
I should ask him that. I wonder does Jerry Stackhouse have. Does he have a tattoo?
A lot of them you don't.
On his leg, right?
Yeah, a lot of these guys have them. You don't know because they're like Tim Duncan has a tattoo on his back. You can't really see it because his jersey covers it, but it's there. It's there. David Lee too. David Lee's got a tattoo somewhere on his back also. You know, they're hitting in the right spots, I guess. But Larry Sanders, next time, I'm sure he learned his lesson. He'll be extra careful next time he gets a tattoo. So
yeah, Stack's got a tattoo. I'm looking at some photos now. I see a tattoo on his arm.
Okay.
One on his chest too.
Okay.
He can open up Stack's tattoo parlor with his name, you know?
Stacks. Gotta do something with Stacks. Can't do Stacks Records. That's over with.
Kyle and I were talking about it. It's like a million different things, from food to muscle building supplements, Stack, you know, they got everything. I mean, there's so many ways he could go with that. He could have a bar.
Yeah, Stack houses. Stackhouse.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a million different things you could do with that. You know, it's the guys that just have the name Smith, you know, just Smith.
Yeah. Smith.
Just
like
Smith.
Kenny Smith.
Yeah. How many Smiths are there in the world? Like 1 billion.
There's a lot. Too many Smiths.
Yeah. We break this down all the time, actually, when I'm at the gym with my friends.
Yeah.
We break this down all the time. If you don't know someone's name, there's a good chance it's John.
Think so?
Yeah, John Smith. I don't know. Just there's a good chance.
John Smith.
I literally do not know one John.
Are you serious?
Not a single John.
Oh my God! Not even that kid that picked his nose back in high school.
No, I don't even think I went to a school with a John from high school.
That's insane. Yeah, I bet you on Facebook you're friends with one John. I bet you.
I don't know. If I am, then I'm sorry. I'm forgetting.
I guarantee you got a John on Facebook that you're friends with. I put money. Everybody knows everybody on Facebook.
No.
It's crazy.
The closest.
The closest.
Oh, I do know.
I knew it. It's amazing.
Never mind.
Facebook is unbelievable.
Never mind.
It really is. All right, wrapping up the show here. You know, we should have touched on some free agency. We still got some free agency. Who's left? There's no one really out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people. Maybe Stackhouse. You know, Stackhouse is so free agent.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, great show. Jerry Stackhouse. Pleasure having him on. A lot of good stuff. From Mark Strickland, for AJ, for Kyle. We'll catch you guys on the rebound.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to TalkinHoops.com.
Catch you on the rebound.